your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Brown sexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
In the words of the In or Out Sports Debate, the wait is over. Good morning. Welcome to another exciting and rolling edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that duo, Cole Johnson. No, I'm not the other half, obviously. My voice is deeper and I'm shorter. No, never mind. Never mind all that. Well, hour number 2, we will have the Cool and Coach Hour with, of course, Cool McCain of many things. One of the hardest working men I know, and Coach Dante. And that was going to be a wonderful hour. Unfortunately, we will not have Wise El Jefe, so you will not see this intro because unfortunately he has to be at work today. And but you'll be seeing him tomorrow. Well, I had one ready for him. Anyway, let's get to the whip around. I know the Bengals are happy because Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the team, practiced for the first time since injuring his calf back in July. During the session that was open to the media, Burrow participated in all the throwing drills with assistant Dan Pitcher. Yeah, I like the last name. That's nice. And the team's backups, Jake Browning and Will Greer. It was a welcome sign for the Bengals, which they played without Burrow for the last 6 weeks as he was recovering from his calf issue that I think he had even before he definitely pulled it and tweaked it hard. Now, T. Higgins, the one of the 3 wide receivers that Burrow normally likes to throw to, he had this to say about Burrow being back on the practice field. Quote, "It felt good just to see him out there, see the big smile on his face. It's all about the health and how he feels. That's the most important thing this year. Really getting him back as fast as possible and making sure he's healthy and 100% healthy with his mind. That's all that matters." Close quote. Well, I know one team that doesn't really want to see him, that would be the Chiefs. I would say the Bills will qualify for that too. I just think they would just cower in the corner just seeing any Bengals jersey, no matter who's wearing it, number 9 or otherwise. Well, the whistle's being blown on NBA referee Eric Lewis, and he was forced to retire amidst the league investigating into the social media accounts of his. The 52-year-old was under investigation for his possible unauthorized use of a burner account on X, formerly Twitter. In May, just before the start of the NBA Finals, the league confirmed that it was investigating Lewis and his potential use of a burner account on the social media platform. The league was looking into whether Lewis used that account, which responded several times to messages that had been critical of him and other NBA officials. The league said in a statement that in light of it, the investigation into his social media activity has been closed. Well, it looks like the best and favorite referee of one Kevin Durant now is gone. And why do I say that? Well, Kevin Durant should be named AKA Mr. Burner Account his doggone self. How many did he have? What, 7, 8, 9? all just to respond to people who were critical of him. Tisk, tisk. I love rock and roll. I'm sorry for singing that song, but Joan Jett, a known hardcore Orioles fan, got a chance to sit in the booth and, well, call a play which actually ended up being a two-run single that she saw. Well, the rock royalty is among the Orioles faithful and was in the building this past Monday night as the Orioles hosted the Chicago White Sox. Now, the Hall of Famer in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame spent some time saying hello to players ahead of the game, and during the matchup, took a trip to the broadcast booth. In the bottom of the third inning, the magic happened when Ryan O'Hearn hit a 2-run RBI single. And that was the first of the runs that I believe the final score was 6-2. That put the Orioles up 2-0 in that game. Of course, you heard her exclaim, "Yeah, yeah!" Wonderful call. I mean, just brilliant. Enthralling stuff. Sea of Red welcomed Lincoln and the University of Nebraska. But it wasn't for their lousy football team. No. And we didn't take a trip back in the time because it wasn't the mid-90s or the mid-80s. No. They packed Memorial Stadium for their women's volleyball team. Yes, Volleyball Day in Lincoln will now go down in history because 92,003 spectators packed the Cornhuskers Memorial Stadium, according to the university, setting not only an NCAA record for women's volleyball attendance, but the national and world attendance record for any women's sporting event ever. The Huskers head coach of volleyball, John Cook, got emotional while talking about the feat, and he said the following, quote, "We've dreamed big here tonight. Kennedy Orr wrote me a note today that said, 'Coach, tonight the impossible will be possible.' We did it." Close quote. Oh, how touching. Acting like Barry Switzer to Jarrell when they celebrated their last Super Bowl victory 28 years ago. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? My bad. New details have emerged after shooting injuring 2 women at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago this past Friday night. On Tuesday, ESPN Chicago reporter Peggy Kaczynski said that the gun was snuck into the stadium by one of the women who was hit, and the shooting was an accidental discharge by the woman whose injury was previously identified as a grazed wound. Police previously identified that it was a 42-year-old woman who suffered a 1 gunshot wound to the leg and a 26-year-old woman who also sustained a graze to the abdomen. Authorities said the older woman was taken to a local hospital where she was in fair condition and the other woman refused medical treatment. So you mean to tell me now heifers are clapping on one another? This is normally things you talk about with guys. You mean to tell me women are wanting to shoot other women? This world is going down. Jihad Ward, he gave his perspective on the viral confrontation with Aaron Rodgers, and it was captured on Hard Knocks. Now, Ward and Rodgers got into it during Saturday's preseason finale after Ward gave the 39-year-old 4-time MVP a light shove well after Rodgers had thrown the football. Rodgers, of course, made his displeasure known and spoke to him about it. Now, after Rodgers threw his first touchdown with the Jets to Garrett Wilson, he and Ward got into each other's faces a second time, with Rodgers saying, quote, "Don't poke the bear," close quote. Now, Jihad was a little bit upset because of the blindside block that wide receiver Randall Cobb set. And it put, I'm sorry, and it put a giant player in concussion protocol. Well, I have my perspective. I think it is one that it needs to be said. I have my own perspective on all of this. You know, I can't stand how Aaron Rodgers just gets away with everything. I mean, it sucks. He just sucks the life out of teams. He sucks the life out of stadiums, and he sucks the life out of opponents. I mean, he's just a black hole vacuum for an old crotchety white man. He needs to go. Drinks on me. No, that you didn't like that? No. Too bad I did. I thought it was wonderful. And that concludes today's Whip Around. A break, a trip into the Fanatics feedback zone upon return, and then we'll talk about Tommy John surgery. And remember, hour number 2, the Cool and Coach Hour, right at you. But I'm coming right back at you after these messages.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and what Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
'Cause we take this job so serious.
Man, I went home that day and talked to my wife, Vicky. And Vicky was like, "What's wrong with you? You pissed off?" "Yeah, I got this partner I'm working with back in the radio station. The Negro be lying." What in the all types of blue hell?
Yes, it's Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And you'll get to enjoy all of what Chris Bass is about. Bottom of hour number 2 tomorrow. Man, as we enter the boom shakalaka. Now we enter the Fanatics feedback zone right now. And the first comment comes from the smart man known as Ryan McCarthy, no credentials acquired. He goes, gonna pull off my best Judge Smales impression here. Well, we're waiting. Thank you, Caddyshack. Sig Diggy says his vintage good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good afternoon, good afternoon to you, sir. I hope everything is well with you. And I'm also waiting for any and all of your wonderful what's the wording that I want to use? Oh, yes, your ads. He says, we need an intervention for Ryan McCarthy. His caffeine withdrawal symptoms are getting out of control. Ryan, please take a seat. Thank you, sir. VLock83 or Victor Locke. He says, good morning, Mr. Cole Sports. And good morning to you, Mr. Ryan says, good for Burrow for taking time off. Playing with a strained calf can lead to a torn Achilles. And I think that month off did him justice. I think he's going to be doing much better now. It says, see Kevin Durant and Marcus May, who each tore their Achilles after playing with a strained calf. Yep. Good point. Good point there, Ryan. 6 says, Cole, you're the smooth slickster of this outfit. You're as sharp as you're wily, hence the mad scientist moniker. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the love. And speaking of love, he's passing along to the Fans Feedback Zone. Victor says, Kevin Nappyhead Will Smith Durant. Yeah, I know. That head so nappy, if he would have put a comb through it, fireworks would just simply explode out of it. Chris Dietz at the Fifth Dunsmore Show. He says, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning to you, sir. I hope everything is well with you out in Connecticut. 6 says, the Whip-Around is brought to you by Daddy Joe's Rawhide Belts. The belts for chapping that hide raw. Daddy Joe's Rawhide Belts. Salute to Gary, Indiana. Shout out to Joe Jackson. Sick also says, and burn leg orthopedics. The only thing keeping Anthony Davis' career intact. That's bum leg orthopedics, folks. Oh, my leg, oh, my leg, oh, my leg, oh, my leg. And he passes along hello to you too, Deeds. Ryan says, while I don't necessarily follow women's sports, I do think it's awesome that the Nebraska women's basketball team, volleyball team actually, sold out Husker Stadium last night. Not basketball, volleyball. And if I said basketball, my apologies. 6 says, please tell me those heifers weren't related to Plaxico Burress. I hope not, bro. I really don't. And, Jets fan extraordinary says, here we go again. Victor says, please someone tell Mr. Rodgers to have some ayahuasca and a smile and shut up. Yes, I know. And I really do at times want to say to him, but my tongue just simply can't go there. Rock.
Shut up, bitch.
Those days are long gone for me. 6 says, look, I'm glad I don't drink. I'm glad I don't drink either. He also says, more like he needs to undergo a few sessions of colonics, Victor, just to clear his anatomy of all that crap he's full of. Oh, Lord. Oh, Ryan says, I meant volleyball. Maybe I need more caffeine. Oh, and this wonderful conversation we're having with Financial Effects on is also brought to you by Invader Coffee, veteran owned. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan also says, look, I've been called worse, Cole. So have I, my friend. So have I. So have I. All right. For those of you who watch baseball and have watched it for a while, are you feeling the same troubled feeling that I am? And the reason why I ask this is because I've been seeing more and more batters getting hit by pitches. And I'm amazed. I didn't think that I would be seeing so many, but I think I might understand why. Because I've been seeing also I think you all too, a litany of pitchers who are going under Tommy John surgery. Now, let's be understood. Let's be understood here. You try to throw hard, and more than likely you're going to tempt rupturing your ulnar collateral ligament, or one of them, or many of them. Chances are. And it's also significantly dangerous to major league pitchers because the object is to throw harder and to get major league batters out. And with many, it seems like more heat, the higher your chances are to get batters out. What's unfortunately is happening is there's so much that remains unknown about a pitcher's health. You know, why some get hurt, while others enjoy decades of incident-free hard throwing, like Nolan Ryan, because I don't think he ever went under Tommy John surgery, from what I can understand. And through countless studies and trials, best practices have emerged, but definite answers have not. And, you know, I'm thinking about Jacob deGrom, the hard luck. When he's on the mound, the dude is unhittable, but he just simply can't stay on the mound, first with the Mets and now with the Rangers. And he's already had Tommy John surgery before. He's going to go, if he hasn't already, he's going to undergo another Tommy John procedure. And he is likely to not just miss the rest of this year, and this was back in April when he was diagnosed with this, and then May when they set him down. He won't just miss the rest of this year. He's possibly going to miss all of 2024. So we might not see him on the hill, if at all, until April of 2025. So to me, it just says to me that that's just alarm bells. You know, we had to save these pitchers' arms. I mean, it's just that paramount. It's that simple. When we see pitchers do what they do, and they put so much torque on their elbows and on their shoulders, it just makes you think, well, how the heck can they throw that many pitches and not have the arm be like spaghetti? But it looks like with many, more than we care to want to count, it seems like that's what's happening. It seems like they are throwing so much to where their arm is like spaghetti. You know, before I continue, it makes me think of back in 1989, I believe. First Padres, then Giants pitcher Dave Trevecchi, the southpaw. He threw junk and he threw fastballs. So he mixed it pretty well. And so he had to heal his arm, and he came back off of a long layoff. And I think the anniversary of this happening in Montreal passed, I think, about a couple weeks ago, maybe 3. And so he's on the hill and he's doing fine. He's dealing. And then he goes with the windup, and then he cuffs back to throw the pitch. And the next thing you know, you hear it's something that in the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, it sounded like a gunshot went off. And then his arm goes limp. And then you see Trevecchi fall, pitching shoulder first to the mound. And it was just one of those horrific scenes you won't ever want to see anybody undergo, because it was like, wow. And that was the first time that I can remember, other than like if a pitcher got hit by the ball, or if he was stupid enough to want to throw blows with a batter that he hit, or if the bat hit him. This was the first time, just by him doing his job, that I could remember understanding that being a pitcher is a dangerous thing. And if you don't do the fundamentals almost every single time you throw or pitch, you can risk damaging any part of your arm. You know, it's amazing when you think about that. So of the top 64 hardest throwers in 2023, based on an average fastball velocity, nearly half of them have undergone reconstructive Tommy John surgery on their pitching elbow, or they're expected to undergo that procedure soon. That population is headlined by 2 of those pitchers at the bottom of this ultra-velocity club. The ace of the Rays, Shane McClanahan, and the do-everything player, and quite possibly the best player in the game today, Los Angeles Angels two-way player Shohei Ohtani. Each of them averaged almost 97 miles per hour with their fastballs this season. and recently blew out their UCLs, not for the first time, but for a second time. And, I mentioned these two along with Jacob deGrom, and I'm thinking, wow, so is it possible now these pitchers are going to have to actually carve aside time to undergo the Tommy John surgery correction more than once in their career? And if so, that would have to be grueling because, it's not that you go on a knife, you're all healed up, and all of a sudden you can just throw like it's nothing. You have to you have to train your muscle to endure that torque again, and you have to do it at a higher level than we do it in order to actually be able to get out big league hitters. And to me, and the rehabilitation process, I think, would be even more grueling than when you're back on the hill and you're throwing live game action. Now, McClanahan has become the 8th Rays pitcher to undergo the surgery since 2020. And the 3rd member of the Rays rotation to suffer a season-ending elbow injury. Now, Ohtani is mulling whether to undergo the second procedure. Now, he first messed up his UCL back in 2018, and he has continued to serve as the Angels' designated hitter with, of course, a lot of coin on the table in free agency at stake when we get to the stove season. The hot stove season, sorry. Now, while Ohtani's Angels have faded from contention, of course, McClanahan's Rays are right there in the thick of it. They're only a game and a half out of not just the AL East lead, but the best record in the AL. And oh, by the way, they comfortably hold the number 4 seed in the top wild card seed. Should the playoffs end now? Jeez, man. It's heartbreaking when you just look at it. And then here's another example. The closer of the Orioles, Felix Bautista. Now, he averaged with his fastball 100 miles an hour. And he did magnificent feats. Struck out 110 in 61 innings. But this past week, he had to leave the game. And he was only 1 strike away from his 34th save. And then the Orioles announced over the weekend that he had a UCL injury, and he's mulling over if he wants to go undergo the Tommy John surgery because of the injury. And maybe Finance Feedback Zone, you can help me out with this. I would like to believe that when we are in Pee Wee League and Little League and junior high and high school and college and the minor leagues, that there's still some level of teaching how to properly pitch and not how to just simply throw. Because I'm thinking we're seeing more throwers on the hill now, on the mound now, than we are pitchers. Like we having quarterbacks, but they're just holding a white ball instead of a guy who knows how to, in a real tight window, make life difficult for the best hitters on the planet. And it looks like it is life and death, almost literally. And I still go back to that Dave Dravecky delivery where his career was done. What sucks about this is I believe we're going to see this again. We're going to have another Dave Dravecky incident happen again. I'm not wanting it. I'm not trying to predict it. I'm not calling for it. I'm not praying for it. But seeing how we're seeing so many guys who are more throwers than pitchers, and we're seeing more hit batters, and we're seeing more pitchers undergoing Tommy John surgery, we're headed to that end. And I don't want to see it, but that's where we're going. Sucks. It sucks. Back to the finance feedback zone we go before we take our break. Sick ass Cole, why is it called Tommy John surgery? Well, it was because when how can I call him? Journeyman, I think. Journeyman reliever Tommy John. It was a left-handed pitcher. He suffered this injury, and before he underwent this procedure, whenever a pitcher tore his ulnar collateral ligament or the UCL, whenever a pitcher tore it off, he had to retire. It was over. It was done. So it's called that surgery because he was the first to ever have that surgery done to him, and he came back and he pitched some more, and in some instances pitched better than he did before he underwent the procedure. So I hope that answers your question. That's why the procedure is called the Tommy John surgery. Ryan said DeGrom had Tommy John surgery as a minor leaguer in 2010. So this is his second surgery. He's expected to be back by August 2024. They actually think he's going to be back later than that. And I was surprised when I heard that. I was like, wow, so he actually might miss all of next year. I want him to get back in 2024, but people are saying that it more like it's going to be the spring of 2025. And I'm like, wow, okay. Six says also, let's consider how the game has changed at the little league level, high school level, and college levels. Yeah, it has changed, and I think there's been more pressure placed on players in general. Definitely pitchers now, and baseball enthusiasts. Correct me if I'm wrong, and raise your hand if you heard this. You remember that pitchers would always say, and pitching coaches would always say to little leaguers, don't ever throw a curveball at your age. The first time you should try throwing one is maybe at the high school level. Maybe. More than likely, you have to try to learn it at the end of high school and college. But just throw off-speed stuff and fastballs, because that puts less torque on your shoulder. Well, unfortunately, it looks like when you throw hard, it almost looks like it doesn't matter how much torque you do or don't place on the shoulder. Ryan says that's why Greg Mack's career was relatively injury-free. He didn't need to rely on throwing gas. He used location as his primary weapon. The sweetest 12-6 curve I've ever seen. Except to me, he had a sweet 12-6. Nolan Ryan's, to me, was better, because that thing literally looked like it fell off the table. Ooh, that thing was pretty. Six says, look, Dave Trevecchi also had cancer, desmoid tumor. I knew there was something else that went along with it as well. Thank you, sir. In his left arm. And he had half of his deltoid muscle in his left arm removed, and the humerus bone was frozen to eliminate the cancer cells. And he goes on to say the cancer would return and ultimately destroy Trevecchi's left arm. And yes, unfortunately, he now lives with an amputated left arm. Trevecchi also returned prematurely from cancer surgery in 1988. He was advised to put off pitching until 1990, but he was determined to pitch in 1989, and then the incident happened in the summer of 1989. He didn't give his arm ample time to properly heal since he was missing half of the deltoid muscle in his left arm. Michael 3000 says, good morning, guys. Go Sports with the Z. Good morning to you too, sir. Ryan says, is this a consequence of highlight culture? Pitchers who throw gas typically get featured more on highlight reels. That's a wonderful question, man, because it almost is likened to, I know you remember this, Ryan. It is definitely tantamount to when the aforementioned Maddox and Tom Glavine, when they did the Nike commercial where they said chicks dig the long ball, where of course that was hyped up around the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire home run chase that now is marred by an asterisk and steroids. I'm believing that, yes, you're seeing that highlight that highlight culture, and I think this is sort of like how in basketball, either you want to shoot a three, break a person's ankles with a dribble, or a dunk. And so either, I think the highlight culture in baseball seems to be you hit a homer and you stylize hit at a homer, meaning you do a flip of the bat or some crazy stuff. You strike out a batter, or you have a glove saving catch, whether it's to protect a no-hitter or to protect a game from, going further, either in disarray for your team or in disarray for the other. So yeah, I think we're caught up in this, and I think in baseball, that's where it shows up. So that's a really good question, man. That's a really good question. And yes, Sick, we can't forget that certain players are more prone to injuries than others. Yes, you're correct. All right, and when we come back, I might have to ask Mr. McCarthy for forgiveness for what I'm about to do, but this is actually a question that I want to pose to all of you. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Be back right after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Your afternoons just got better with the Brian Snow Show. Weekdays, 4 p.m. Eastern. Come on aboard and enjoy the ride, folks.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
PK Tire Pro is your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon and see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
We take this job so serious.
The f*** is that?
Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And you will see my mentality brother join us tomorrow as we ring in the Friday before Labor Day. And we will, of course, talk about the NFL action that is now, as of right now, 1 week from today from kicking off, but then it will be 6 days from then. Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. My partner will join me momentarily, but why know who will join me in hour number 2? That will be Coach McCain. That'll be Coach Dante and Cool McCain, and we will enjoy the Cool and Coach Hour, where we will touch on many things football. In fact, I think that'll be an all football hour, actually. But we're going to be sticking with baseball. We're going to be sticking with the major leagues, and we're going to focus our attention on the Bronx. And the reason being, not to poke fun at them, not to get my jollies off. I just have a really, really, really important question to ask. What are the Yankees doing? Now, I'm saying this on the heels of them releasing Josh Donaldson, the three-time All-Star, AL MVP back in 2015 when he was with the Blue Jays. His 2-year stint in the Bronx just was not all that great. And in 34 games during an injury-plagued season this year, he hit a wonderful, robust 142. He missed time earlier this year with a hamstring injury, and he had not played a game since suffering a calf strain last month in the Rocky Mountains. Now, he enjoyed productive seasons in Atlanta and Minnesota, along with, of course, the Blue Jays, before he was traded to the Yankees to begin the 2022 season. Now, in the Bronx, Donaldson struggled with injuries and deteriorating skills. He hit .222 last year with 15 homers and a career-low .374 slugging percentage in playing 132 games. This year, he lasted only 1 week on the active roster before going on the injured list with a strained hamstring. And after a couple of setbacks, he hit 2 homers in his return to the active roster early June, but then went back on the DL shortly thereafter, the All-Star break, with said calf injury. Now, he was making almost $22 million this year with the Yankees, and he will be responsible for an $8 million buyout of his 2024 club option. If Donaldson is signed by another team before the end of today, he would be eligible to play for that club in the postseason. In his combined 2 seasons with the Yankees, Donaldson has posted a .207 batting average. Goodness gracious. Oh, Lord. .293 on base percentage and .385 slugging percentage, with 25 combined homers and 77 RBI in 165 games. Well, no wonder why a Yankees fan is so angry. I'd be upset too because really, I'm going to be blunt. When you see output like his and Anthony Rizzo, it sort of makes you think, well, what is the Yankees brass looking at? What is the scouting team looking at? What? So is the farm system that bad to where we're trying to find somebody's leftovers? I mean, let me be curt and blunt. This is almost tantamount and reminiscent of when Daniel Snyder, the former owner of the Slug, was grabbing every single free agent known to man, right, left, and center, and did not care if they were on walkers, did not care if they were walking with canes, did not care if they were rolled up in wheelchairs, did not care if they needed lifeline to support them to travel from one place to another, and that's just on the field. If it was a big name, let's get him. Deion Sanders, 37 years old, let's get him. Let me see. Donovan McNabb, 35 years old, let's get him. Albert Hainsworth. Well, he was 30, but he was an absolute joke. Let's get him. Big name, just grab him. And it almost seems like the current Yankees regime is going along those lines. And look, Yankees fan, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that what I'm what I'm seeing, or am I seeing that these guys actually were good, but then they throw? Thank you, Sick. Another example of the slur, grabbing free agents that were far past their time. Bruce Smith. And I mean, there's many other names I could name those are just the ones that was off the top of my head. I mean, it just seems like to me, definitely with Donaldson and Rizzo, that's really how it feels to me. It's like, okay, it's a big name and we need to win now. Let's grab them, but not see the quality of the player. Is it possible that they're at the tail end of their career and they really can't contribute? And then you have, what is the farm system doing? Is it wrecked so much beyond repair that there isn't anybody that you could say, there's a prospect that I think would be great, and I think that would help. That will help our team 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Are we seeing this now? And if so, that's problematic, especially for a team that is known to be the stalwart franchise to bring home championships. Look, forget the fan base. Forget the fan base that expects them to win a championship every year. Forget that. Look. Now, I will say this in the Yankees fan. I'll say this Yankees fan favor. Unlike Cowboys fan, and definitely unlike Lakers fan, the Yankees fan wants a World Series every year, but they are very realistic. And I'm not just talking about Wise or even Ryan. I mean, I lived with one for about a couple of years. Realistic. There's some who have Pollyanna thought processes where they're wearing navy blue colored glasses, but they're honest. They'd say, our team absolutely is circling the drain. Our team sucks. They'll actually say that. So I don't really feel turned off by Yankees fan. I really don't. It's because they have that realism, and they're just like every fan base out there. Every fan base expects their team to win the big trophy. Why else would we want to play? Why else would we want to root for the team? So, to me, I'm not talking about the fans' expectations. I'm talking about the organization's expectations. They really believe that every time they put a team on the field, Yankees organization, they put a team on the field in April, they think in November, early November, they're going to raise up the World Series trophy. They believe that every single year. But the problem is you can't believe that and say, well, we have Aaron Judge and we got Garrett Cole. Okay, so Aaron Judge, okay, Garrett Cole, and Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole, and I mean, there has to be more than that. And I'm not sure if the Yankees organization is seeing past that. Yankees fan extraordinaire, along with no credentials recquired's host, Ryan McCarthy. He says, look, I'm sure Wise will discuss this tomorrow. Yeah, I actually wanted to discuss this with him today too, but I didn't realize he had to be off at work. So yeah, I would love to discuss this with him tomorrow as well. And he says, but I'd be happy to talk about this more on Tuesday. I'd be happy to hear what you have to say about this too. He also goes on to say Rizzo has post-concussion syndrome, but the concussion was apparently misdiagnosed. Either he was lying or the training staff was lying. Either way, it looks bad, and it looks bad on both ends. Because either you're talking about a player who was BSing the staff, or the staff who was pushing the player on the field saying, yeah, you may have this, but we don't believe you. That looks bad both ways. He also goes on to say, and Donaldson was a tremendous disappointment, but Cashman knew he was getting a third baseman with deteriorating health and skills. That's on him. And that's a wonderful segue. and I'll probably will end after here. Brian Cashman. I've heard a lot of up and down opinions about him. There's times where people want to choke his throat, and there's times where people want to sing his praises and toss him up like a newborn baby. Now, since the Yankees are going to be without a World Series trip, let alone championship, in 14 years, the choking is what Yankees fan wants to do with him. And I'm thinking, and I'm thinking to me, Brian, just judging from what I'm seeing, if your GM is not taking an active approach to understanding that, okay, this guy has a little bit in his tank, or this guy doesn't, or this guy did great things 5-6 years ago, but man, he looks like he's dinged up and he's troubled. Maybe I need to not take a flyer out on him. Are we seeing this to be the case with not just Donaldson, but with more of his free agent pickups? I mean, that, to me, I think that's a valid question. If I were you, I think that'd be a valid question I would ask as a Yankees fan. Ryan goes on to say the Yankees have actually had some very good prospects. Steinbrenner and Cashman are too stuck in their ways to play them. They need a shot in the arm from somebody. The problem with that, sir, and I'm not disagreeing with you with your statement. The problem with, I'm not talking about with Steinbrenner and Cashman's thought processes. The problem with that is they believe that Aaron Judge is that shot in the arm. And I'm like, don't you understand? The dude just crossed over 30. He's not a new prospect anymore. Now he's the veteran that you pull from. He's the veteran in his prime that you build around. Not the oh wow, the new spanking brand new star that we're going to say is going to be our hope and our future. Well, no, he's your present. And you got to play him and build around him like he is your present, which means, and I agree with you, which means they got to reach down into the farm system and find those diamonds in the rough. And if they continue to think this way, they already lapped by the Astros. They've been lapped by the Rays, and they're about to be lapped by the Orioles for doing the exact same thing. Maybe finding that 1, 2, 3 key free agent, building around them with the farm system, and grooming the team of the future. And there's 3 teams now, and I just mentioned, in the American League who is doing it the way that the Yankees should. Unfortunately, though, with Josh Donaldson, the Yankees aren't. And thanks to Ryan for saying why they aren't, because I totally agree with you. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. Well, we'll take a pause for the cause, and when we come back, hour number 2 begins, and the new Cool and Coach Hour will be soon thereafter. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Be right back right after this.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So don't they hear you? You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Technical difficulties, please stand by. The host needs to collect himself for a moment or two. Please stand by. The host simply can't believe how people can be such dolts and idiots. Please stand by. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, already in progress. Welcome to hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. Took you through a wonderful hour number 1, but hour number 2, oh yes, we are getting started right now. And there's someone I need to introduce. Let's do this correctly.
No words necessary.
One half of the Cool and Coach combination, our friend from Playmaker Sports Productions and Eagles Elite Podcast, and other projects he's doing. The one, the only, the incomparable Cool McCain. How you doing, my man?
I am good, man. I am good.
It's good to see you, bro. It is good to see you. Let me see. Hopefully, Coach will join us later. Love old Coach Dante, and maybe Snowman will join us too. But
know, right?
Yeah, you do never know. But I will, and this is going to be a all football hour. So I will start with. All right, so the Colts, Jim Irsay, the dude. The dude seems to want to have literally have his cake and eat it too. So early this month, he talks about how the running backs should be happy with what they collectively bargained the whole NFLPA collectively bargained for, and the lot for running backs is what you have here, and what they and if they're belly aching, why should they should stop. And then when he wants to fulfill the trade request of the running back that he has, Jonathan Taylor, he's asking for more than the value he actually said their running backs are worth, and he can't move them. So and the GM of the Colts, good Lord, Chris Ballard, he talked earlier this week about the club wanting to see its all-pro running back return to the field, but there needs to be some fence mending, and yes, it does, because he said about that, quote, I'm not going to sit here and paint you some rosy picture like, oh, everything's okay. It sucks for the Colts. It sucks for Jonathan Taylor. And it sucks for our fans. It just does. It's where we're at, and we've got to work through it, and we're going to do everything we can to work through it. Relationships are repairable. They're repairable. Close quote. All right. We're going to start with Jonathan Taylor's situation. So if you're Jonathan Taylor, how would you feel? What would you think? And how would you move going forward?
So if I understand correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong,
go ahead.
He's going to be on the injured reserve for the first 4 weeks of the season, the PUP list.
You are correct. Yes.
Yeah. So if I'm Jonathan Taylor throughout those 4 weeks, I am meeting with people, letting them know I'm not playing for you. I'm not. You did not give me a fair chance to be traded. I'm not playing for this owner. He's ignorant. He's a drunk. He's about as bad as Daniel Snyder, and I'm not playing for him. So I'm moving in those 4 weeks, basically like I'm going to be traded. Everything I'm doing is to get traded. I'm saying, hey, you gave me permission to reach out to teams. You gave me an unrealistic deadline based on what you were asking for. You didn't ask for a reasonable trade. Like you just said, Cole, you're the one that came out and said, running backs, shut up and take what you can get, long story short. Now you're saying, oh, you're in the last year of contract. I'm not going to pay you, but I'm not going to trade you either, even though I told you could go out and seek a trade, but I want an unrealistic trade back. Who in God's green earth thinks they're going to get Jalen Waddle for a running back? The nerve that you have to even make that request of the Miami Dolphins. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm flying to Indianapolis. I'm pulling out some baby powder. I'm putting it on my hand, front and back. Where you at, Jim Irsay? That's what you deserve for even making that suggestion. Or playing that you devalued yourself. Come on now. Come on.
I could not believe that he felt as though he was like, the nerve of the Dolphins. We tried to trade Jonathan, but the Dolphins didn't want to come off of Jalen Waddle. I wouldn't either.
There were 5 teams. 5 teams. And I know the Eagles were one of them, included in trade talks. And you couldn't make a trade with 5 teams. That means you're asking for too much. Real talk, you're asking for too much. You devalue a guy and you want people to pay you like he's a quarterback. It's not how this works, Pimpin'. That is not how this works. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, if I got to sit out the whole year, hey, it is what it is. I am not playing for that team, and I'm drawing me a line in the sand, and I'm standing on my side of it, no matter what. Period, point blank. And I'm going to continue to talk to my agent and say, hey, I want you to go talk to other teams. We still trying to get up out of here.
I would hate for that to happen. However, I agree with you. I think that, and this is unfortunate for him, he actually got a chance to see how he is valued or not valued in Indianapolis. He got a chance to see his general manager basically trying to paint the picture of, well, we all had to have a kumbaya moment. Well, I'm sorry. This dude just heard his owner say, well, he's not going to get broken off the bread that he thinks he deserves. Although, yes, he's 1 year removed from winning the rushing title. But when he asked for a trade and I actually complied, I'm not getting the proper value that I deem necessary for his talents.
For a guy that you don't even want to pay.
I would feel some kind of way my doggone self. I'm like, no. I put my hard-earned sweat in this blue and white jersey, and you basically saying I should just simply get it off the glass when it comes to my bag? Screw you. I don't blame him. And yeah, I think he should if he is comfortable enough, and if he's savvy enough, and if he can, like you said, and definitely in these next 4 weeks, take the time to grease the wheel for it to happen. Look for his exit strategy, and I think if he does, there will be a team out there who would get him. And there's a few teams that I think would really benefit from having a Jonathan Taylor on it. Dolphins is one, but for Irsay to ask for Jalen Watt, when I read that, I didn't even read the part below which said, well, the Dolphins turned down the deal. I didn't even read that part. All I needed to read was the Colts wanted Jalen Waddle, and I think it was like a 4th rounder. A Jalen Waddle in the 4th round. I'm like, fool, please.
The 4th rounder, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
The fourth rounder, they would say, okay, fine. But no. I could not get fool, please out of my mouth fast enough.
There are so many clips that you could play right now about Jim Irsay, and they would all be 1,000% accurate. I also want to say that they were asking him about, they were asking the general manager, and this is a quote I saw about him and, why he wouldn't get paid in a situation. He was like, we were, 4-13 last year, or whatever they were. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. So you're going to put the fact that you had trash at quarterback, that you had subpar wide receivers, you have under the radar, you have a less than normal offensive line for run blocking, all on Jonathan Taylor
last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to put all that on Jonathan Taylor as to why you had a bad season. Yeah. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, bro, ain't nothing y'all can tell me. Ain't nothing y'all can tell me. I will show up. And, if you won't trade me, I will say this. If you won't trade me by the trade deadline, I'll show up and I'll run 3 plays. Oh, my neck. Oh, my back. Oh, my neck and my back.
Oh, no. No, my neck, my back. Oh, my neck and my back. Oh, Lord, no.
We settle right now for $1,000.
Oh, my gosh. But all right, so not saying that I actually agree with Irsay, I don't, but I'm just trying to, I guess, see it from his angle. So of course he got a chance to witness the Giants with Saquon Barkley. He threatened to hold out, and it's like, okay, no, the market isn't going to give me what I want, so I'll resign. And then Josh Jacobs. He didn't say he was going to hold out, but he was looking for a big-time deal. Didn't come, and he signed for a 1-year deal himself, too. And so Irsay, I think, was feeling all in his oats. It's like, well, these two backs, Barkley and Jacobs, they signed 1-year deals. Below the market of a pass rusher. Well, hey, that's all you can afford. That's all my running back in the. That's all my running back in the forward. I mean, hey, get off the glass. I'm like, jeez. And when I try to empathize with him, it's just I agree with you. Now that Snyder's moved out the paint, the title for worst owner in professional football is him.
This is the guy who traded for Carson Wentz. I just wanted to remind y'all of that as well.
I knew a Carson Wentz slight would come.
Since we're running down to the negative things in his resume, let's go ahead and make sure we get, to a lot of them, if not all of them. I mean, we don't have time in an hour to get to all of them, but
no. I knew you was going to get a Carson Wentz slight in there. I just knew it. All right. Well, the other person who normally joins us every Thursday and normally joins my man Cool here is here in the green room. I think I got to bring you all in. Yeah, I'm going to bring you all in like this. Coach Dante joins us. And now the Cool and Coach Hour is full right here.
What's good, Cool? What's good, Cole? How y'all doing? How y'all doing this morning?
Everything is lovely, man. Everything is lovely. We're about to take a commercial break, but I do want your take on this.
Okay.
So the Colts, they're basically trying to have this kumbaya moment and say, well, we didn't get the deal we want with Jonathan Taylor, but we got to make peace with him. Of course, meanwhile, you have Irsay who says, well, running backs are getting what they're supposed to be worth. Oh, well. And when he honors the trade request for Jonathan Taylor, he's asking for too much. What are your thoughts?
Jim Irsay is one of the biggest, outside of Snyder, is one of the biggest douchebags that you would know. You know how many times he botched the quarterback situation so many times. So how the hell can you trust Jim Irsay? When he was going through with Phillip Rivers, you should have got a quarterback, thought about getting a quarterback after Phillip Rivers was gone. Carson Wentz, you remember that when he blew up that game against Jacksonville? You forgot it. You should have drafted a quarterback like right up in that window, right there. But then you pick a year to finally draft a quarterback. Now you had a 1,800-yard running back year before last, and Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor gets hurt. All of a sudden, you don't want to pay him. You don't want to pay a top 5 running back in the National Football League. This is Anthony Richardson safety blanket right here. We got to realize that this should be a safety blanket right here. And now you don't want to pay a top 5 from running back in the National Football League. But now, if you don't get the right deal for Jonathan Taylor, now I do agree that you don't move until you get the right deal, for him. But if you got teams offering like the Miami Dolphins, who's willing to offer, you want to come off of them. But that's all about getting the right deal to help your team. I believe Jonathan Taylor will be traded. I definitely believe in that part. He's going to have to wait till late, mid-season, early in the season to get traded. But you don't sell yourself cheap. If it ain't the right deal, then you hold them now. You got some type of leverage. You do got some type of leverage. That's one thing you can think of. But he's the biggest douchebag in the league, and he botched. And he got the offensive line too late for Andrew Luck. He got the offensive line a little bit too late, like 2 years too late for him. So at the end of the day, it doesn't look good for the Indianapolis Colts. Doesn't look good for Anthony Richardson at all. Really, you're going to have to trust Anthony. Anthony Richardson's going to have to beat a lot of teams with his arm. He's not going to have that safety blanket like, Jonathan Taylor, where you got to load up the box and get ready for Jonathan Taylor. And also that open up a lot of RPO for Anthony Richardson. So at the end of the day, Jim Irsay is the biggest nick and poop out there. So the coach just gonna be a whole dumpster fire after this season, man. I just feel bad for Anthony Richardson a little bit.
Hey, I got a quick piece of breaking news. So the Dolphins have placed Jeff Wilson Jr. and Jalen Ramsey on IR. So to begin the season, Jeff Wilson Jr. will not be on the active roster for at least the first 4 games. So Raheem Mostert and Devin Achane will be the backs. So that may be a reason why they were trying to grab Jonathan Taylor because they knew it was coming. Just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there when I saw it straight from Shefty himself.
You see, this is what you get when you pair Coach Dante and Cool McCain, and they're going to be with us the rest of this hour. And when we come back, more football talk. But we're going to go to the West Coast and talk a little bit Nick Bosa and the 49ers. And is there trouble in paradise or is there not? You're listening to or watching Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. We'll be back in 2.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
We're not a cooking show. We're a show about cooking. We turn the camera around and point it at you. Our show takes place right inside your kitchen.
Hey y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, Vicala, and the rest of the usual suspects and a few unusual suspects as we bring you 2 hours of the best sports talk you will ever watch and listen to. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on CSTV and CSTVNow.com. Join us, won't you?
I'm in another lane. I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing next level pro wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
Cause we take this job so serious.
Y'all know what? Hey, cool. You know how much I hate this guy with a passion.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Yes, it's Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now you know you family when you make that. So welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
I can't believe Cool had me defending Davis Mills for the first time. I don't know.
Hey, it wasn't my fault, man. I had to say something positive about Carson Wentz. So it was my fault, believe me. But McCoffrey, I just want to let you know, I agree. We know about Jalen Ramsey, but we did not know about Jeff Wilson Jr. And so they have to officially make the move. So they officially made the move on both. So right. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that they did it for Jalen Ramsey as well, even though we already knew what was happening. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quickly to the Fanatics feedback zone while we doing that there. At the end of our conversation with the Yankees' woes and troubles, Ryan says, look, part of the issue with the Yankees was Aaron Boone, the Brandon Staley of Major League Baseball. He was putting Judge second in the lineup. He needs to back cleanup, so he's protected, and they failed in that effort. And let me see if I can find it. No lies can be found. I think Aaron Boone is the Brandon Staley of MLB. I agree. I totally agree. Hey, Pizzle, good show last night. The Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Good morning to you, sir. Playmaker, he's making an appearance, and he actually says Florida upsets number 14 Utah in Utah. One question, Playmaker. Are you doing this as an analyst, or are you doing this because you love Florida?
That's definitely because he loves Florida. I'm going to answer that for my guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I actually got Utah winning tonight in Utah because I got Utah as a sleeper for my top three.
Yeah. And A Pizzle channeling an element that we like to play. And I will do you the honor, sir. A Pizzle says, Playmaker.
You for real.
Oh, boy.
Jory Sports Stories is good to see you, brother. It says Jim Irsay doesn't even want to move him. Talking about Jonathan Taylor. If we are being honest, that's why he's being unreasonable about the asking price and trades and stuff. And I think so too. I think to a degree he wants it to be known, and it might be well, yeah, I put you out there, Jonathan, but no team wants you. I want you, and it might be that too. And I think you actually said what I'm thinking later on, and I'll get to that in a minute. Ryan says, "Look,
real quick, Jory is one of our sports divas."
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry about that, ma'am.
No problem.
Thank you, cool. Thank you. Thank you, cool. Thank you, Coach Dante.
Yeah,
thank you for having my back. Thank you for having my back. And I agree with you. I think, as I said, I think you're going to say something that I agree with later on down here. Ryan says, "Look, I'm bookmarking that comment that Florida upsets the Utes." And of course, you're hearing Playmaker chant SEC. Look, I hear that all day, every day where I live. I'll need to hear it here. Goodness gracious. And with the cool coach, our new element, Ryan says, "Oh, why is it going to have conniption fit knowing the cool coach got those elements?" Oh, there's one more I got to play too. Ryan also says, look, yeah, you played that. And Jory said, look, that relationship between Taylor and the Colts, irreparable. Forget it. And I agree with you. I think that pretty much is it. That's it with them. I think if Jonathan Taylor's going to be playing in the NFL, it won't be with the Colts.
He'll nick and poop.
Ryan McCarthy says, oh, yeah, and Brandon Staley's the Aaron Boone in the NFL.
Hey, I get it, Mr. McCarthy, because you know how I feel.
I can't stand Brandon Staley.
Is the black, he's the black Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is the white Dak Prescott. So I get it. I get it.
The only reason they'll make it worse for Aaron Buffoon, I call him Aaron Buffoon. The only reason they don't make it worse for him because he made it to the ALCS. That's the only reason.
Last year.
Yeah, last year. And a couple years before that, I believe in 2019.
2017, 2019, yeah.
Aaron Buffoon, I love it, Coach.
Playmaker says Utah quarterback Cam Rising is not playing tonight. All right. And so that's why you're chanting SEC. Okay, got you, sir. Ryan says Mac Jones is dollar store Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is target Mac Jones. Oh Lord, here we go. Look at what you done started, Ryan.
I can rock with that one too, Ryan. I can rock with that one too.
Look at what you done started, man. All right. So taking a trip out to the Bay, and the 49ers are going to be traveling to Pittsburgh to begin their season there against the Steelers. But they will be doing so, at least for now, without their all-world everything defensive end, Nick Bosa. But the organization is basically saying that Bosa will sign a lucrative contract at some point, and there is a scenario they would see in trading him. The coach of the team, Kyle Shanahan, said that recently Bosa's extension negotiations have gone about how he expected, even though Bosa has not been with the team since they opened training camp last month. And asked if he thought it would be dragging on this long, Shanahan suggested that this is the window he had in mind throughout the process. Now, speaking for the first time since trimming the roster to 53 on Tuesday, both Shanahan and John Lynch, the GM of the team, were adamant that even though Bosa's holdout has gone on longer than they'd like, they don't see any scenario in which a trade would happen. Now, I will start with you, Coach. How important is Nick Bosa's presence on the 49ers?
We talking about the player of the year, defensive player of the year, right? Nick Bosa.
Yeah, the reigning defensive player of the year, right?
He's definitely important to this defense on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the defensive edge. You talking about guys player like T.J. Watt. You saw how the defense of the Steelers, quickly, wasn't the same after when he was there, after he missed games. And then when he came back, you saw how much of an impact it was. Same thing with the 49ers. I think him opening up everybody else and making everybody else better, like a Javon Hargraves, who can open up the middle pretty much. I think that takes a lot of pressure off Nick Bosa, and it takes a lot of double teams off him. So getting him paid for the 49ers, I think that's a must. I don't think you have anybody to replace him, especially 18 sack guy. I don't believe you have nobody to replace a guy like that, but they got to get that. They got to get that done. They got to find a way to get that done. It's a reason, but I think that we get it done. I'm not concerned. I think they will find a way to get it done. You cannot let that dude come out and get off that team. That dude is too important to the defense. I mean, he makes everybody else better. DJ Jones, he makes Vernon Hargraves, he makes Hargraves better. I mean, Javon Hargraves, who left for the Eagles, better than the Eagles. Not only he left for the Eagles find a way to get better right after that. I think they should be in jail. Crazy. I think really they should be in jail for all of that, what they did in the draft. And they still find a way to get better right after that. So other than that, Nick Bosa means everything to this defense. He's the engine to make this defense go, and you have to pay him. You cannot let nowhere where you can botch this. You can let this happen and trade him and have him frustrated. You got to keep your guy happy, especially a guy that got 18 sacks for you last year and a reigning defensive player of the year. You got to find a way to keep him. You got to find a way.
Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the interior defensive line.
That's crazy. How
How did the league allow the Eagles to have those two man children on the defensive interior? I'm sorry, my bad.
You have to blame the other teams. I blame the Eagles.
Oh, I don't blame the Eagles.
You cannot blame the Eagles. You got to blame everybody else because they had the opportunity.
I don't blame the Eagles.
And don't forget, they let us get Nolan Smith at the end of the first round.
Oh, I was just focusing on the defensive interior, let alone Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith was a top 10 pick.
I know, and he dropped that. He dropped the final first round. Yeah,
when they played the national championship, he was considered a top 10 pick. That's a top 10 pick. Was drafted at 30. Basically,
Oh my gosh!
I'll say this.
Your thoughts on Bosa?
You paid Javon Hargrave a lot of bread.
Yeah.
Right. So Nick Bosa sitting there like, oh, you're gonna play this cat all that to come in?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all might as well get that Brinks truck and back it up. And until you back up that Brinks truck, I ain't signing nothing. You don't bring. See, here's something that people don't think about, right? Like fans, front offices. You got a guy that's all-world defense on your team already. You're going in and bringing in another guy, basically saying, we need this guy, and we're going to pay him an exorbitant amount of money because they paid him way more than I know the Philadelphia Eagles would have paid him. So I'm not mad that he's gone at all because if that's what you wanted, bro, real quick. We don't need that. We don't need those problems. We have too much other pieces that we can be paying with that money. But now, Bosa like, yo, if you paying him that, I mean, obviously a positional difference, so the amount you're getting is different. But I'm not coming in here for a discount because I'm already on the team. You're bringing guys from outside, and you're breaking them off.
Yeah.
You're gonna break them off. You're gonna break me off, and until you break me off, I'm gonna sit at home. And to be real with you, I think everybody knew Nick Bosa wasn't gonna show up before the first game. You know why? He wants them to see how they look without him. Then we'll go back to the table and talk.
Of course.
Yeah. That's my.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you.
Nick. Take your time, Nick. Get your money, baby. Get your money, baby.
Yep. Take your time, man. Just take your time. That's all you gotta do. You ain't gotta rush. You work out too. You work out at home anyway.
Hearing from Cool, that is coming from an Eagles fan. So obviously, the longer Nick Bosa sits, the happier he would be. Because I personally think the 49ers are the only team that really could, if they were all healthy, have a legit shot to knock the Eagles off in the NFC.
According to the 49ers, they'll destroy us if they're whole and we're whole, according to the 49ers.
No. Destroy? No. It might be knock down, drag out, but to destroy? No. No, sir. No, sir. You can quote me on that. No, sir. So and look, Cool. I agree with you. I think Nick Bosa's holdout was a negotiation tactic and ploy that would serve to actually benefit him. And this, I think, goes along with what Playmaker's saying. Harry Douglas of Get Up, ESPN's Get Up, he says that he predicts an upset for that game between the Steelers and the 49ers, that the Steelers at home will come out with a W over the Niners. And if that is the case, if they have that happen in Pittsburgh, like in week 1 of last year, when in a Chicago downpour, the 49ers lost 19-10, that would help Bosa. Now, my question to you then would be, so if the 49ers end up with an L next Sunday, how quick would they want to rush Nick Bosa to the negotiation table to sign a contract extension?
I would think they move pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? But again, if I'm Nick Bosa, I'm like, well, let's see what happens the week after that. Show y'all that it wasn't a 1-week fluke. Y'all going out there in week 2 and play without me again. Let's see what happens, right? Because the more that he says, hey, I'm chilling until y'all pay me, because he's not going to get fined, right?
No.
So the more he says, I'm chilling until you pay me, the more that they get desperate and the more them dollars start increasing. So I'm telling you, obviously it benefits the Eagles if the 49ers lose a couple of games that they could win. But at the same time, I'm all for players getting their money in any situation,
Right.
even if you're an Eagle. Like, that's why I'm not mad at Javon Hargrave, CJ, GJ, different guys that left because, hey, go get your money, bro. Go get your money.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
get your coin.
Double benefit, because while you getting your money, this team ain't as good without you. I'm also in the NFC. You're a main challenger, so hey, I'm not mad about it.
Coach Dante?
I think it just depends on how good their defense is playing, on how their defense is going to play. I just think that's what it's going to be the determinant factor. Like how good their defense will be, how the defense will perform without Nick Bosa. I think that will be kind of the factor of them hurry up and pushing him, and paying him to come back. If they don't look great, especially in Pittsburgh versus Kenny Pickett, if they don't look great at all, then you can kind of see a rush to, we got to pay him. He's big of an asset, but you should know that already. You should know you got their player already, how good he is, man. Damn man is a damn defensive player of the year. 18 sacks, you can't ignore that. I would pay that dude. I would run his money to his house. I
I send him a keg like Jason Kelsey is.
I would run his money to his house right now. You know how good Bosa is. This is not one of these stars that you say, hey, we're gonna have to wait another year. This is not Kirk Cousins, someone you put on the Washington Redskins, put on franchise tag twice. This is not that dude where you gotta hesitate to do that. This is not no Josh Jacobs, who was probably the best running back in the league last year, and the Raiders were hesitant to pay him, to even pay him. They didn't even want to pay him.
Yeah, they were.
Jonathan Taylor, this douchebag don't even want to pay Jonathan Taylor, top 5 running back. Top 5 running. Giants didn't even want to pay Saquon Barkley. It's not one of these guys you don't want to hold off to pay. You got to pay this guy. This is a 18 sack. It's hard to get 18 sacks. It's hard to get even 10 in the league. Some veterans can't even get 10 in the league. So it's hard. This man got a hard job. So I think it depends on how the defense plays. If he does size to miss week 1, I think it depends on how the defense performs. Actually, I think it depends on how the defense performs. But if I'm Bosa, I'm not rushing to come back at all.
Yeah, I agree. If I were Bosa, I would say okay until there's a right number, and I know you're serious that you're putting on the table. Yeah, I'm enjoy this vacation because I know what I'm worth, and you know what I'm worth. So stop monkeying around and give me my money. I agree with both of you. I agree with both of you. And Playmaker definitely agrees with you. But, of course, he's paying this. As a Rams fan, he says, look, no rush for that team in California because they play the Rams in week 2. And the thought of Nick Bosa possibly signing before week 2 makes him red-faced and cursing. Oh, brother. Well, you can explain all of that Tuesday. Please get it all out of your system. Get all out of your system. We will take a pause from the cause, and when we come back, we will conclude with talk of Deion Sanders. And why? Well, he's the talk of the town when it comes to the NCAA. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, and you're inside the Cool and Coach Hour. We'll be right back right after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
CSTV will air the Big 3, and I'll call the doggone games. Ice Cube, bring your show out west, and we'll handle it. I am making a public plea right now. You want some fair coverage? CSTV will air your games, all of them, and I'll call as many as I can. We'll do a simulcast, television and radio. It's an area I know best. Television and radio. And yeah, I'm putting it all the way out there. So you know what, Ice Cube? I'll make this plea right now. Me, a small-time YouTuber, a small-time broadcaster, according to a lot of people, which I don't listen to, put your games on CSTV. Put your games on CSTV. Give us a little funding, and we'll do the rest.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is The Brian Snow Show.
Your afternoons just got better with The Brian Snow Show. Weekdays, 4 p.m. Eastern. Come on aboard and enjoy the ride, folks.
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
Now, I'm known as the guy who can fix just about anything, but the technology in most appliances requires very special training to fix. And that's why my family has Choice Home Warranty.
Choice Home Warranty covers over 25 major home systems and appliances. That's your AC, heating, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and so much more.
Call Choice Home Warranty now before something breaks down.
Get protection for your heating, AC, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and more.
Call 800-973-6121.
Cause we take this job so serious.
I know this is going to come back to haunt me, but I take Carson Wentz over Zach Wilson.
Oh no! And Dante walks off.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Oh, that did my heart some good when I saw that.
He don't even campaign for Carson Wentz, but he did it on that point. He did. I was in the same situation he was in. With Davis Mills, same situation. We was in some tough situations on that point.
Oh man! Welcome back to Snowman. We
got back into a corner.
Yep.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Welcome back to Snowman and Morning with Cole Johnson. You're inside the Cooling Coach Hour, and this is to me one of my favorite hours of the week. When Cool passed on to me this brother's talents in Coach Dante, I was like, I got to see it. I know I believe him because I cut for whatever Cool cuts for, and Cool was on the money with you, Dante. You awesome, bro. And
thank you, man.
And because of that, you too. Like I said, I look forward to this hour every week now. I mean, this is something that I really love, man. So thank you, Cool, for introducing me to Coach Dante, and thank you for actually taking this hour to want to do this with us. I totally appreciate it. All right. So,
absolutely.
The man who seems to draw whatever opinion, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and that is Deion Sanders, the former coach of Jackson State. Now he's the coach of Colorado. And a lot of people are wondering, well, could this man put forth the team that will surprise some people? Who knows? But a lot of odds makers are saying, well, we probably could see them blast past maybe a 3.5 win season set by odds makers. But there might be some ifs, like if the starting quarterback is or is not as good as advertised. Of course, the starting quarterback for them is Deion's son, Shedeur. He had a 78-8 record in high school, and he put forth the 23-3 mark at Jackson State. So he got a chance to show his wares at the wonderful HBCU down in Jackson, Mississippi. And he still has 2 years of college eligibility. Now, he could leave after this year. But people are saying that his accuracy and intelligence have drawn rave reviews since his transfer. Now, one of the big things that people sort of raised red flags about, but I did not, was the roster overhaul. And people were in an uproar saying, well, wait a minute, you can't turn over the team the way that Deion wants to turn over the team. I was like, yeah, you can. And he should. If he's seeing that the team isn't going to perform the way it should, the coins he's getting paid is to put forth the talent on the field that can produce a winner. So if he sees players on the team that are just not going to produce, okay. And so to that end, Coach Prime has brought in 68 new scholarship players, including 47 transfers from other four-year colleges, 5 from Florida State, and 13 from other SEC schools as well. And there's other things too. And of course, the early barometer is how well will they do in the first 2 games. And it is known that Colorado has the 3rd toughest schedule in the nation, or they had it, last year, based on winning percentage. But they go to Fort Worth to play TCU, and then let's see, they go to TCU, and then I think they go back home to play Nebraska. So I will start with you, Cool. Judging by what you've heard from University of Colorado and how things have been with his practices and the interviews that he's done and the stuff that people claim that he is or is not, how well do you think, at least this year, the Buffaloes will do?
This is a hard team to figure out, right? Because there's so many different new pieces. The one thing about a lot of new pieces is getting it to all blend together, right? Getting everybody to kind of play together. I think Deion's the guy that can do that, though. You have to realize the reason he has so many people coming in, the reason so many people want to play for him, the reason why some people left is because he demands a high level of play. Deion is not here to just play around. I think they'll definitely be over 3.5 wins. 4 wins is low for them. I feel like they're going to get probably 6, maybe 7. So they probably almost double the expectation based on the betting odds for that. But it does, as you said, all depend on what happens in these first 2 games. TCU and Colorado. TCU and Nebraska are good barometers, right? Nebraska is never going to be what they previously were. I don't think anytime soon, but they're still a solid team for when you're putting together a new team, pretty much, right? They've only had one off season together, not even a full off season. A lot of transfers, a lot of different people, but you got a guy who has NFL experience, and not just as a bench guy, not just as a guy who didn't play much, but as a star, a superstar in the NFL. So his defense should be really well. He brought some of his coaches with him. He added some other ones, and he said when he got there, and this is what a lot of people forget. He said when he got there, we're here to win. We're here to be a successful team. If you're not going to be part of that, the way that we're going to do it here, then you can go. And apparently a lot of those kids realized they weren't going to be part of it, and they left. He's Deion, so he got better players in most cases, from what I've heard, to replace those kids. It's just a matter if he can get them together, if he can get them ready to play week 1, if it takes a couple of weeks, if they have enough talent, just raw talent while they're working on being better to do what they need to do. But I'm confident that Deion is going to get them at least 6 to 7 wins this year.
I like that number. I like that number a lot more than 3.5. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I can't see them just doing 3 or 4 wins. I can't see that.
Yeah.
Coach Dante.
I got them like at 7 wins, by like 7 wins. That's already you won 1 game last year. That's a 6-win difference. I mean, even 5 wins is an upturn for the program. But like I said again, I talked about this on multiple occasions. Hey, get the losing commodity up out of the locker room. Get the losers up out of there. If you want that 1-11 team, I don't mind him doing that, because you're a part of the losing. You're part of the losing product that was on the field. You don't want to lose a product in your locker room, so get them all up out of there. You were part of the problem. You were part of the problem if you was on that 1-11 team. That's how bad Colorado was, and you already know how Deion Sanders is. He's not going to be okay with losing. When you get someone like him, you're going to expect to turn your program around. He's going to want to win. He ain't going to want to wait. He ain't going to want to wait for it. So again, and guys are going to come play for him. Recruits, top 5 recruits, they're going to want to come play for him. So you already know. The minute he went to Colorado, you seen kids defect from other schools just to want to go there, within that 24 or 48 hours. You seen kids defect from Alabama, and say, this is a spot open, literally open on Twitter, spot open for me, Coach Prime. So that's how, respected Coach Prime is. And you want to be coached by the best, by one of the best corner probably that you have seen in the game of football. You want to be coached by that. And Travis Hunter, everybody knew he was going. Everybody knew he was going to Colorado with Coach Prime. But yes, I can see 7 wins, depending on the law, depending on the TCU game too. I think they can actually. I think this game has a better chance of being an actual solid game. TCU did lose a lot of people. They lost the quarterback. They lost their running back. They lost both of the running backs at that. They also lost Johnston. They lost Johnston as well. And they lost Thompson Hodges, the corner of the year, I believe, last year for TCU. They lost a lot of guys to the NFL. So this is like a new regime for the TCU Horned Frogs. So it's an opportunity for the Colorado Buffaloes going down and show, are they really serious or not? If they can beat TCU, I believe it's going to show how good they could actually be on their season. I think you get an uptick on how the season is going to really turn out. But Nebraska, who has Matt Rule, who's going to probably turn the program around a little bit. It's not going to be probably this year, but it's going to be probably in a couple more years. Yeah, you can beat Colorado State. They probably beat Colorado State at home. Oregon, they will lose to Oregon. I think they will lose to Oregon. USC, that's back-to-back losses. Arizona State, you can beat Arizona State. Arizona State, you can beat Arizona State. They're not a good team. Stanford, you can beat Stanford. You should be able to beat Stanford at home. I think that's a toss-up. UCLA, I think they lose to UCLA. Oregon State, the best defense in the Pac-12. I think they lose to Oregon State, no matter where it's at. Arizona, you should be able to beat Arizona with Jaden Delore. Even with Jaden Delore as the quarterback, you should be able to beat them. Washington State is going to be tough. They always tough. They almost beat Oregon. This is a team that almost beat Oregon last year. If it weren't for Bo Nix getting upset and getting on fire. But Washington State, they could beat Washington State, but I would get an answer Washington State. And you got Utah. I don't think you're beating Utah. Not in Utah. So 7 wins is an uptick. 6 wins, that's even good. If you're getting anywhere over 6 or 7 wins and bowl eligible, that's good for the first year of your program. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's what I see. I see them being bowl eligible. That's I can't see them under that at all. I really can't. To the FNAF feedback zone, quickly we go. Drew Willingham, D. Willie, of and around Sports Senseis Unleashed, and of a new show that he and I are doing called Total Football Talk. Yeah, that's going to debut next week. Good morning, fellas. Good morning, chat. Good morning to you, my fellow brother. I hope everything's good with you, Drew. And he channels Dion here when he says, "Buffs, they're coming." Yeah, they are. The playmaker, he says, TCU handles Colorado. I know. I was seeing that. Yeah.
Yep.
TCU handles Colorado.
I mean, TCU can win the game, but handling. That's what made me laugh.
Yeah. I know it's in Fort Worth, but I don't think they'll handle Colorado. I don't think it's going to
be easy as you're going to probably expect. I don't think it's going to be easy as you probably expect. I think they win the game. I think TCU win the game.
I think TCU wins the game too. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be a rout.
It also gives you a glimpse of Colorado, if the Colorado decides to hang around the game, how good the team can actually be, how tough the team that can actually really be. It's going to show how good they will be during this season if they can stick in now. Sticking there with the TCU Horned Frogs.
Yeah, totally. The man who is wise el jefe, my mentality brother. He normally joins us today and tomorrow, but he is out for today. He says, "What's up, my brothers? What's up, my man? I hope everything's good with you."
And my NFC Beast brother.
Yes, NFC Beast brethren. And of course, that's a show that will come back, if not this week, next week.
That's what
I was thinking. And of course, that show it talks about all things NFC East. So yes, you have representatives of the Giants, the Cowboys, the Eagles. Well, you see one of them, the rep for the Eagles, and the Slug. So you'll see reps from all 4 of those teams in what quite possibly, arguably, can be the best division in NFL, but inarguably it is the most high-profile division in NFL. So yes, it's wonderful content, and then I'm looking forward to it next week. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all do talk about. But we'll stick it to college before we go. So Georgia, I'll go there. They're the back-to-back national champion. I'm of the thought process that I just don't see a team that could unseat them unless Georgia suffers from too many injuries to go back to back to back. If there is a team out in the landscape of college football who can unseat Georgia as the number one team and the national champion, which team would it be? And Coach, I'll start with you.
Oh man, it's kind of tough. It's kind of like when you're thinking about who can dethrone, when South Carolina was going through their little spree, in college basketball. Me and Cool trying to figure that solution out, and we didn't think nobody was even closer to them. Besides, a couple of teams. I think you thought about UConn, but you didn't think about Iowa. We didn't think about Iowa that much, but it's kind of like that solution. So I think the closest team that I will actually trust is Alabama. I think that's the closest team. I think they don't probably see them to the SEC title game. I will have to give Alabama that title pretty much because they're gonna have a competitive defense. They're gonna have a competitive defense. The only thing that makes it uncomfortable that I think Georgia's gonna be able to handle Alabama is the quarterback situation. And when is the last time Nick Saban was pissed off about his quarterback situation outside of the Coker situation? You remember when they had that 2 quarterback system throughout the first 2 games, and then he finally Coker had some consistency and he chose him. I think this is how the quarterback situation is going to play out. Probably the first 2 games, is going to be a switch with Jalen Miro and Sampson. I think that's when he's going to find out who has the more consistency out of those 2 guys, and I think that's who he's going to go with. Jalen Miro is more of a running quarterback. He's not a very good accurate passer. He can make things happen with his legs. Sampson, if he's more of the more accurate passer, but he's been struggling. He's been struggling as well. They also got Tyler Buckner in there pretty much as well. It shows you, how big of a game that, how big of a step up, that Jalen Miro had. So it looked like he's turning around to be the starting quarterback. But right now, man, I think Alabama is the closest choice. So they get to the SEC championship game. I think Alabama is the closest choice. I don't see them. Now, I think because of the conference, I think they will have some tough games. They struggled versus Missouri last year. It came down to a game-winning drive, but I don't think that happens this year. I don't think they struggle with Missouri this year. They play Florida at Florida. Florida's always going to be tough at home, but you expect Georgia to handle Florida. Now, Tennessee. They play Tennessee in Tennessee. Now, I think that's probably the game that they may give them a run right there. But Georgia, I think that defensive line may be too good. They're going to always do running back by committee. So I think when they get in the SEC title game, I think Alabama is probably the only team. But I think I will trust them to beat Tennessee. But Tennessee probably the closest that they play. These are the guys that they play. Tennessee may be a little bit more closer.
So the only other place you can really go is you have to go outside the conference. If you're not going to do Alabama, whoever wins the Big Ten, either Michigan or Ohio State.
Yep.
I think that's the only person outside of Alabama, whichever one of those teams it is, that could at least give Georgia a hard challenge. Not saying that they're going to beat them, but at least give them a difficult challenge. Because with Ohio State, what's going to go down with Ohio State? There's this dude you may or may not have heard of before, named Marvin Harrison II.
The receiving core is great. It's legit. That's what makes.
Well, I mean, he almost single-handedly beat Georgia last year.
Pretty much.
In the national semifinal, yeah.
In case you didn't know, he's still in college. So he's got a good opportunity. And in Michigan, you got Harbaugh, and people can say what they want about Harbaugh. He's going to always have a great group of kids, right? Because kids want to play for him. He's a guy that draws in those kids because they want to play for him. Solid defense at Michigan. If they can get over Ohio State, they also have a chance. But whoever is the winner between those two, that's the only person I see like in the playoffs that would be able to challenge Georgia.
Okay.
Even when Marvin Harrison was out in that national title game, you saw how good the receivers were with Julian Fleming. You saw how good the guys was.
The receiver was good.
You saw
and
that
if they had Marvin Harrison still in that game,
they had no answer for Harrison.
They had no answer for Marvin.
No
Harrison.
answer.
And that's what I think that's going to give Georgia the problems, and that gave Georgia the problems last year. That receiving core and that offensive line is really good too. Let's get that offensive line. That offensive line was really good in keeping Stroud upright. But if the quarterback is any good, I just got to see how good the quarterback actually could play. Because if you can't get the ball to those wide receivers, the best receiving core in college, then something is wrong. Something is going to be wrong. It just tells you how bad that quarterback will be.
That's
why I cover myself, Coach. That's why I say
that's fair. That's fair, and I can totally understand that. Jory says we will be fine. I'm thinking we. I was going to say I'm thinking we is Roll Tide. Is that correct, Jory? That's what I thought.
Especially with those elephants down there.
Yes, I saw those two elephants. I was like, oh, she's a Bama fan. Okay. So I see you, Jory, saying Roll Tide there. I see you.
Roll Tide.
Playmaker says, look, that question you asked Cole, ask that question next season with Georgia's still behind schedule. And to end the things, Wise says, talking about when I mentioned the team of the slur, and I mentioned Drew. He says, "Oh, you mean Mr. Disrespectful?" And his team that Wise actually calls the Days of Our Lives. I'm like, why, man?
Soap opera, man. It's a soap opera.
Well, yeah, he's right. They are a soap opera, which is unfortunate. Look, gentlemen, I got to thank you guys. I wish I could continue to do this, but unfortunately, we've come to the end of the road here for this Thursday. Cool McCain, Coach Dante, you can find them in the description box below as to where you can find real play callers and Eagles Elite and the Coach Dante's YouTube channel, which please subscribe to it. Please subscribe to all of them. Wonderful content, as you just heard in this hour. Coach Dante, Cool McCain, the two who comprise of the Cool and Coach show. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here.
All right. And that does it for this episode of Snowman in the Morning. I thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for hitting that notification bell to any and all content that emanates from the Snowman Multimedia channel or from any of the channels that you see in the description box below. We all appreciate the support, and we all appreciate the thank yous. And for Snowman, who was off today, I am Cole Johnson, here to say the following. Take care, God bless, remember to make your next move your best move, and always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then you just taking them. Dream big, do bigger. And that's what we're doing here. We hope you all are doing that as well. And until we do this again tomorrow, where we will have Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network, we'll have Ben Sutter, the owner, manipulator, and the operator of the BS3 Network, and of course, the bottom hour number 2, we will enter the Boom Chakalaka with Chris Bass. We bid you adieu right now. See you later. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Aaron Rodgers is
trays.